Hey everyone, I'm here today with Tim Soulo. Tim is the head of marketing at Ahrefs and founder of BloggerJet. Tim teaches businesses how to use SEO to achieve their traffic and revenue goals. Tim, how are you doing today?
Hey David, thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. So today we're here to talk about SEO and specifically thinking about the perspective of somebody who has an e-commerce store, is already getting some search traffic, is getting some sales from that, but isn't quite sure how to take it from the level that they're at to the next level. So what I'd like to do is just walk me through how you'd approach that because you've seen so many different stores, so many different kinds of SEO problems at Ahrefs. So pretend you're like consulting for an e-commerce store that's getting a few thousand visitors a month, but is like plateaued and they just have no idea what to do next. So what's the first thing? I came to your office and like Tim, I desperately need help. I don't know how to make this curve go like this. What are some questions you would ask? Where would I start? And what would you do?
Well, I think there are kind of three major issues with e-commerce stores. If you look like at the big picture, the first issue is website structure, because oftentimes e-commerce stores they have all these like fancy names, breadcrumbs, categories, and all that stuff. And like also when you go from page to page, it creates all sorts of parameters which creates kind of duplicate content, like a thin page and all that stuff. So basically, a store with like 20 products can generate a few hundred pages because of the kind of issues with navigation and website structure. So I think this is the very first thing that you need to audit when you want to like improve your e-commerce store.
Yeah.
And I won't pretend that I'm a super technical SEO guy and I know like everything how to do it. So my advice is especially if you have like a big e-commerce store that has like 1,000 plus products, you should definitely hire a technical SEO to do like a full audit of your site, to look at htaccess, robots.txt, to look what should be indexed, what shouldn't, which links should be followed, which should be no followed,
Yeah.
like what should be hidden from Google, what shouldn't, and all sorts of stuff just to make sure that Google said the right way. And also, one little thing that also goes here is the kind of information architecture. Like your website should basically remind of an upside down tree. So you have homepage, then you have categories, and they link to products and all this stuff. So the structure should be quite straightforward and not messed up. Same goes with the sitemap. Again, this is another little technical aspect that you should consider. Yeah, so all these things, they actually each of them is might seem small, but when you like bring them all together, they can have a huge impact on how your site performs in Google. And again, site speed is also one of these things because, for example, right now at Ahrefs blog, we're working to get like 100 out of 100 site speed. And for me, this is a rocket science because guys are talking about like some Apache servers and Nginx servers, CDNs and all that stuff. I don't understand this, so I would rather like consult someone who is a professional at this and have him like give him a goal like, okay, I want speed 100 out of 100 for Google speed test. If you can do this to me, I will pay you money. Same goes
Right.
with the website structure. So basically, before the call, you talked about Google Search Console. It's very handy for tracking your progress because, for example, you can see how many pages of your site are in Google Index. For example, when I joined Ahrefs and I looked at Search Console, because all our tools were kind of open to the public, so you could basically without logging in, you could input your domain name and get some data. Google indexed all that stuff, and so we had like gazillion of pages in Google Index, and then we started closing everything. All these like generic pages from Google, and now our index went down to like something like 400 pages or something like this. So same with you. If you own a store, you kind of you know how many categories you have, how many products you have, so you have a gut feeling of how many pages should be in Google Index, and you can compare that to what is the index size in Google Search Console,
Yeah.
and then hire someone to like make the two sync.
Can
So yeah, this is the first thing, and it's pretty technical, so I don't think we'll go into much detail
Sure.
because
I have a question about the pages, right?
many of this.
So,
Yeah.
question about the pages. So, why is it bad if I have a 20-page website and then Google thinks it's 100? So, just let's zoom out for a bit and explain to people why that's a bad thing. Because in my mind, if I'm a super SEO beginner, I'm like, oh, there's more pages for Google to see. Therefore, my footprint could be bigger, and Google I'll rank for more keywords potentially. So why is it bad to have 20 real pages, but Google thinks that there's 100?
But these are the same pages. That's the problem. Yeah, if you kind of have like more unique pages with unique content, with unique products, this is actually good. But if your website, because of some like technical loopholes, starts generating like more and more pages which basically look the same, that's not good. So put yourself in the shoes of Google. And what would you do with the website where you can clearly see that there are 20 unique pages, but they're duplicated like hundreds of times each? You won't like do any good with this website.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's not even a question. If we're talking about the quality of pages, for example, at Ahrefs blog we had like 400, 500 plus articles, and we deleted like 1/3 of them. So basically, why we did that is because many of these articles, they weren't generating any traffic. They weren't getting any traffic from Google, any traffic from other sites. So no one was linking to them. So basically, these pages were dead. No one was visiting them. No one was reading them. And even if someone landed by accident, like by searching for some very long tail keyword from Google to these pages, I saw that the time on page was very low. So they basically were opening the page, seeing that like it has some outdated information or super short post without much authority, and they were closing it. So there's no clear kind of statement from Google that these kind of pages will hurt your site in general. But this is something we believe in here at Ahrefs, that your website shouldn't have thin pages that people don't like to see. This is why we deleted like a lot of our content, to make sure that every page that people visit, it actually is good. So Google can see that people stay there, people link to it, people tweet it, and all this sorts of stuff. So same with e-commerce sites. All your pages should be good. You shouldn't create duplicate pages, thin pages, and whenever a person lands on your page, he shouldn't bounce. He should spend some time there and maybe go deeper into the site.
So how do I know that I have thin pages? Is that all through Google Search Console? I would hook that up to my website, and then I'll realize like, hey, I'm supposed to have 500 products, but Google Search Console is telling me that Google thinks I have 2,000 pages. So that tells me there's a problem.
Yeah. It's I think it's under index status or something like this. I don't remember the name of this report, but basically there's a graph with how many pages are in Google Index in any point of time. So you can basically see your progress. If you add more products, you see that the amount of pages are going up. If you remove products, it's going down. Or if for whatever reason, for example, you did a redesign of your e-commerce store and your technical guy messed up something, opened some folder that should be opened to Google, and you saw that your index went up, this is something you might want to fix.
Right. So one of the first things people should do, when they see this, is think about the technical side of their website. So that's where you would start. It's like, is there anything that is going to make Google think that there's a problem with this website? Thin pages, so duplicate content.
I think that Search Console is basically the number one step you should do here. So you should apply for Search Console. It's as easy as pasting a bit of code into your pages. And then you just open it, go through reports. Many of them are quite straightforward, and I'm sure that YouTube as well as the blogosphere is full of tutorials on what you should be looking at, like what are the important reports in Search Console. And basically, I don't suggest you to even go too deep into it. So just read even the official information of Google, because they have a lot of information, like what does each of these reports mean and how you should use it. So this would be enough for you to hire someone to fix all of that. So you can use the Search Console for reference, not to fix it yourself, but to see what's happening, and then like track the progress of a guy who you hired. For example, if you hired a guy to fix your website speed, and there is a report in Search Console for website speed, and you can see that the graph isn't going down, your website speed is not improving, then you shouldn't pay this guy, you should hire someone else. So yes, go to Search Console. It has a lot of information about your site, and you can use it for reference and for making decisions to hire the proper guy to fix each one of these things.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was already about to transition to another issue with e-commerce sites. So if you have follow-up questions about this one,
No, I
let's.
think I was just going to add in that this you can get really far with fixing technical issues because more people don't realize how many they have typically once they've gotten past a certain stage. So in referral candy, one thing um, we were really aware of this is when before a couple of years ago our blog was on blog.referralcandy.com, and then we moved from a subdomain blog.referralcandy to referralcandy.com/blog, and that instantly, like in a week's time, added 30-40% to our site's traffic because their blog was getting so many links and all this kind of stuff. So if there's one thing I think people should take away, if you have to close the video now for whatever reason, make sure you hook up Google Search Console, understand how Google sees your site and the technical errors that they're finding, and go and fix those. But once we've done that, what's the next step?
Wait a second. To be honest, blog.website.com or website.com/blog is something that you won't see in Search Console.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
for Search Console, you have to register these sites as separate entities. So blog.website.com will be separate in your Search Console, and like website.com would be separate. So this illustrates the value of hiring the right technical SEO, because he will instantly like tell you, hey, why are you like putting this thing on your website under subdomain versus subfolder? But yeah, actually, Search Console is great for a lot of insights, but hiring a good technical SEO can give you like as a huge extra layer of understanding what's wrong
Yeah.
with your site, and a huge boost of search traffic, and all these things. Yeah, so basically the second issue, and I promised like three of them. The second issue is actually the content. Because what I see with a lot of e-commerce sites, especially for with people who are just starting out in e-commerce and they don't have a lot of experience, they don't spend too much time on like writing about stuff. I mean, you put up a product, and basically, like most people, I don't know if they're lazy or if they don't understand, they take the same picture like from the developer of the product. So even if they have it in their like store, they take their custom picture of a product from some good angle with good lights and stuff like this, and they will take all the information from the vendor. So they won't change it. They won't like extra layer of like their understanding, their vision from kind of their company background, from their brand background. So they will just copy some information that's already there and put it on their website and hope that people will find it, which doesn't happen. So a huge advantage is to create a lot of uh, custom content around your products. And I'm not talking about the content, kind of blog posts, infographics, and all this stuff. Right now, I'm talking about content specifically around the product. So it could be good pictures of your product that stand out. Again, you can get some traffic from Google image search if you have custom pictures, and if they stand out in this feed of other like similar generic pictures of the same product, you will stand out. Again, unique descriptions of the product, because if you're in this industry, you should know about your products quite a bit more than other people. So you can explain this product from a point of view that others wouldn't think about, and this creates again uh, quite a few keywords for Google, long tail keywords that people might search for your product in like all sorts of peculiar ways. For example, how to get rid of insects that sting me like near water. This is pretty stupid, but I'm sure someone could search for that. And if you had a good description of your repellent, because this is what I was referencing, you could use some of these words, not specifically in this order, but they could appear in your description, and this is how people could find you. So yeah, images, description, videos. Again, why not like just take a camera, because it's like accessible. Every phone has a camera now, and you can record like a small video review of your product, put it on your page, and again add an extra layer of information. And again, this video will also be on YouTube, which is another great search engine besides Google. So yeah, and basically in terms of product descriptions, I've even read some cases. I don't remember what it was, but some store was just taking ordinary products and writing kind of stories about them, and kind of inventing stories like what is the origin of this product, how it was invented, like what's the history behind it, and basically pumping the prices by like 300% or 400%. So overpricing them massively because of the store oriented for each product, and the products were pretty generic. I think it was like some leather leather things like bracelets or something like this, and yeah, they I think they bought it from China or something like this, but they invented all sorts of great stories about things that were depicted on these bracelets. Yeah, and basically
That's
because
funny.
of that, they also could increase prices, and people loved it, and people told the stories about these bracelets to others. So yeah, this it's not just a thing you should do for SEO. It's a thing you should do like for overall marketing, branding, customer like loyalty, and all this stuff. Same with videos, that if you go to a store that just has a generic picture, and if you go to another store that have like a full video review of the product, like I would buy from a second one, because the second one would give me like all the information I need about the product. So yeah, the more unique content you create, the more is the chance that people will find you, that people will buy from you, and that people will become your repeat buyers. So it's not just SEO, it's like the kind of business
Everything.
marketing. Yeah, it's everything.
There's a conversion benefit, but also a search benefit, because you're writing more content. Not only is it unique, so Google doesn't devalue your page because it's a duplicate of somebody else that they can find on like 10 other sites.
Yeah.
But because you're putting in keywords that Google might reward you for in the long tail. So if somebody's typing this really long specific thing, it'll find your page. So that's how that would improve. Okay.
Yeah, again, because just now I'm putting finishing touches of research of our keyword database of 1.4 billion keywords. And basically we studied it from quite a few angles. And it appears we studied this so-called long tail, because if someone doesn't know, long tail keywords are those that have super low search volume, like 10 searches per month or 5 searches per month. But at the same time, if you take this group of keywords with very low search volume, they account, according to our data, for 40% of all searches. So if you're trying to go for like the popular keywords, the kind of head keywords, like for example, leather bracelets, they have quite a big search volume, and it's quite hard to compete for this keyword, because a lot of people want to rank for it. But if you have these good descriptions, you can get pretty much the same huge amount of traffic that these guys that are targeting like more popular keywords do, but from a super long tail keywords. Because for example, someone might be searching for custom gray leather bracelet for birthday, and by accident in one of your descriptions, you told a story that this bracelet is a perfect gift for birthday and something like this. So yeah, this is how long tail works, and it's pretty powerful.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the summit so far. If you're watching the summit, I'm guessing it's because you're looking for new ideas to grow your store, right? Well, if that's you, come check out what we're doing at Referral Candy. What we do is we help stores grow by adding a Refer a Friend program to your store. So how it works is you hook us up, we'll give your customers their own personal referral links and help you reward those customers when they refer new customers to your store. Very simple, very powerful, especially for those of you who've already got an email list and a steady order volume every month. If you want to check us out, we've got a 30-day risk-free trial. Plans start at $25 a month. And if you click the link below, we'll give you a $50 credit to get started. You don't need any developer skills to get started, especially if you're on Shopify, you can do it yourself. But if you have any questions, you can email me at david@referralcandy.com. Tell me you're from the summit, and I will help you out. All right, that's it. Let's get back to the show. Is that how you would respond to somebody who's like, okay, I want to rank for leather bracelets. So a very competitive term, and you can see in SEO tools that it's very competitive and it's difficult to rank for. So I've gotten a couple of questions when I was preparing for this that people were saying, okay, I want to rank for this really difficult term. What's the formula for getting on page 1 of this term? So that's kind of the mindset of people. But it sounds like you would respond to that by saying, you don't need to rank for that one term specifically. There's a whole universe of terms that nobody's competing for that you can do just as well with. Is that kind of the approach?
Exactly. And it's not even like the whole universe of terms that nobody's competing for. There are also terms that haven't even been inputted into Google. Because like there was some statistics that on every day, like I think 10% of searches are brand new. So something like this. So every day people search for things that like they haven't searched before. So every time they invent all sorts of ways to. And again, if we look at voice search, Now, when you just like try to ask a question the way you talk to your friends, that again creates an entirely different way to search for things and entirely new cloud of long tail keywords. But yeah, of course, going after big keywords is a must if you want to grow your business. Because like long tail is one thing, and going after popular terms is another thing. If you combine them, you kind of double your traffic, double your revenue, which is good for you. But it's a totally different topic.
Yeah.
It's basically it is about looking at the pages that rank for this keyword and deconstructing their success, like looking at their content, looking at their websites,
Yeah.
and looking at their backlinks, like
Yeah.
why people link to them,
Yes.
what's the motivation for people to link to this page, and especially to link to this page in the context of this keyword, because page ranks for a certain keyword not only because the page is relevant to this keyword, but also because people link to this page with a certain context that is relevant to this keyword.
I think that's the backlinks are the thing that people who are fairly new to SEO, they don't understand that there's a huge game of backlinks that is below the surface. So it's like, yes, you have to make sure that your technical stuff is sound. That's the first thing Tim talked about. Yes. The next thing is you got to make sure your content quality is there. So unique descriptions, your content is actually good and it's not just from the manufacturer. You're like just trying to get rid of it. But then there's this aspect of making sure that people are linking to your site. And I think this is the most difficult thing for people to understand from an e-commerce perspective, because they just don't know that this is happening. So I don't know if this is the third point you're going to talk
yes.
about. Okay, cool, perfect.
It is the third point. Yeah, so basically, getting backlinks is insanely hard. And actually, this is true for almost any industry. So because if you like, for people who have their own websites, blogs, or who are actively participating in communities, so they are basically able to link to things even when they don't have their own website. I lost this thought. Sorry. Yeah, so if they think about their own linking patterns, they often link to like cool things, useful things, like funny things, amazing things, but not necessarily like products or even category pages on some stores. I don't often link to things that I bought. I bought quite a few gadgets, but I don't think I ever linked to the product pages of any of these gadgets. So yeah, this is a huge challenge to get links to your e-commerce store, and this is where we have two principles that can save you. The first principle is interlinking. So basically, if you have pages on your site that have a lot of links, you can basically link to some products that you want to rank well, to some categories that you want to rank well. So basically, there's this concept of link juice. So when pages link to you, you accumulate link juice, and then it flows throughout your website to the pages that you link to. So basically, if there are certain pages on your website that have a lot of backlinks, and this is usually actually homepage, because if I bought a product somewhere, I would rather reference the actual website where I bought it than the page of a product. So this is why home pages of almost any website tend to generate more links than any other page. And this is why we're getting back to website structure. If you get it right, the link juice that is accumulated on your homepage, it will flow nicely to all other pages, and so they will rank well. So this is the first principle, interlinking. And again, we go back to website structure and content architecture. It should be right so that you could get the most of the links that you have that are coming to different parts of your website. And the second principle is you shouldn't necessarily generate links to the pages that you want to rank. So because of this interlinking, you can have pages specifically created to attract backlinks. And then from these pages, you can link to products, categories, or whatever you want to rank. And this will work because the kind of the link juice, the authority that comes from links will be distributed to these pages. So basically, in SEO and marketing, this is called link bait or linkable assets, or basically creating pages or things or, I don't know, tiny tools or something that will attract a lot of links so that you could distribute that link juice to the pages that you want to rank. And there are a lot of examples of how you could do that with e-commerce. one of the easiest ones to one of the like bulletproof ways to attract a lot of links, but not necessarily easiest ones to implement, is a calculator. For example, if you have an e-commerce store for like kids parties, like you have like balloons, cakes, and candles, all this stuff, and you want to calculate like how much it would cost you to create party for 10 kids. So you create a calculator, like a little piece of software, a little page that you will answer a few questions, like how many kids would be there, what's the age, like do you want to invite a clown or something like this. I'm just inventing this stuff as we go. But yeah, basically, this little tool, it will help you like calculate the cost of kids party. And this is kind of linkable asset, because if you tell about this tool to mommy bloggers or communities of moms that do this stuff, they will link to it as hell, because whenever someone will pop a question like, I want to create a party for my kid, how do I like calculate the cost and know what I need, will link to this page, and oh, here you will get everything you need. Same goes to creating guides. For example, I'm a fan of wakeboarding, and when I was doing my first steps in wakeboarding, of course, I wanted to buy myself a wakeboard, but it's pretty a challenge, as it turned out, because there are different sizes, there are different curves, there are different materials, like different bindings. So this stuff, and I found myself like reading a tutorial from some e-commerce store that was basically selling wakeboards. So they created this linkable asset that other wakeboarders were referencing. Like, if you want to pick wakeboard, go here. This store has a perfect guide. They will help you pick it. So basically, and again, this is not just an SEO thing. You're not only creating a page that will attract backlinks from your industry. You're also creating a page increase customer loyalty. Because guess which store I picked for buying a wakeboard? Of course, it was this store, because I got all the information from them, and basically I had all the products, all the wakeboards right at my fingertips. So I just clicked the one I enjoyed and bought it.
I think that's the
So
easiest one. So a lot of people will ask like, okay, so I want to create something that people get links, and I just don't know. I think the default is just make a buyer's guide for your industry or for that product.
yeah,
So people will do that, right? But how do they actually get the link? So they hit publish, and then people just won't find it because it's this chicken and egg thing. It's like, okay, I want links, but it's not on Google, so how do I get links? What does that look like?
uh, there are two ways to get links. Again, if you look at the big picture, one way is to kind of earn them naturally by exposing your piece of content or your page to the audience. And exposing is quite often paid. So, for example, if you have created this buyer's guide to something, just go to Facebook, pick interests to people, like what's your target audience, whatever they interested in. Facebook has quite nice targeting, so you can do that. And depending on the size of your niche, you can get like clicks for 5 cents or 10 cents. And basically, your buyer's guide will be exposed to a ton of people, and some of them will link to it just by chance. So this is the way of acquiring backlinks naturally. So your job is to show your content to as many people as you can, and some of them will link to it just by chance. Some of them will have websites, and whenever they write about this topic, they will reference it. Someone hang out on forums, message boards, and all this stuff. So when talking to other people, they might reference it and such. Again, Facebook is not the only way. You can also use Google paid promotion. So you can basically use AdWords to make your guide pop for the relevant keywords. For example, for any keywords like how to buy something, and you can display your guide. It won't necessarily lead to immediate sale, but it will lead to like brand exposure and all these things, which is also good. And again, it will attract backlinks. And there are also things like Outbrain, Taboola, and like lots of ways up to paying different bloggers to send this guide to their list. So there are a lot of ways to pay to promote your thing and get backlinks this way. The other way is to build backlinks manually. So basically, the process involves using Ahrefs, which is our tool. And we're talking now for almost 40 minutes, and this is, I think, the first time that I mention it. So basically, you take the page that is ranking for keyword that you want to rank for, or you take any website that has a lot of links in your industry, you put it into Ahrefs, and since Ahrefs is one of the things that we do is we show you backlinks of any page or URL, you can see all the websites that link to it. So then you create a spreadsheet with these websites, you pull the contact information of these website owners, and you do manual outreach. So and the more personalized the better. So basically you send them a message, hey, I see you have a blog in this industry and you're interested in this topic. I have created this buyer's guide. Take a look what you think. In some industries, you can go for a hard sell and just tell them what would it take if could you link to me. For example, you have this page where you talk about this topic. Can you put a link to my buyer's guide? Because I think that your readers will benefit because it is cool and blah blah blah. In some industries it works. In some industries you would suggest some kind of incentive that could be giving them a product, giving them a discount, or even giving them money. And in some industries, you have to be super careful because there are a lot of people doing that. So all you should do is just show them your piece of content and leave it up to them if they want to link to it. But basically, it comes down to looking at the backlinks of your competition, where they're coming from, who writes about them, who mentions them, and manually reaching out to all the sites to show them your stuff. And quite often, you don't even have to reach out to anyone because some links are kind of totally manual. So basically you can just register account at your message, so you don't have to reach out to anyone. Or for example, there's a business directory where you can sign up, post a link to your store, and that's it. So yeah, there are some links that you can replicate right away by registering on different sites and leaving your comments, your messages, your posts.
Yep.
But with others, you need to get in touch with website owners, send them warm, personalized emails, get them interested in whatever you have. And again, you have to listen to their feedback, because if you email 10 people and none of them even responds, or some of them say that your guide is shit, I won't ever link to it,
Yeah.
you shouldn't email 100 people more.
Right.
You should take this feedback, you should rework your guide, and you should show these 10 people your guide again and say what you think about it now. Is it better? So basically, really, the first step is to have something that will impress people in your niche. So if it is a guide to buying a wakeboard, you have to make sure that you're nailing every aspect. And if you show that guide to a pro, he won't say what is that? I don't think this is the way to choose a wakeboard. So yeah, the first step is to really have something outstanding, and then you go look at your industry, who links to your competitors, who mentions your competitors,
Yep.
and then you go and impress them with the stuff you have.
I think that is a super underrated activity that people can do. So go into a tool like Ahrefs, plug in your competitor's URL, and then you can just see behind the scenes what they're really doing. So they could be saying, oh yes, we don't do any paid advertising, or we don't do any social stuff. But if you go on Ahrefs, you can see that who's linking to them, what websites are getting links from, what content is getting shared. So I definitely encourage everybody to do that. Do some competitive research, and it's going to tell you a lot. I had a question about the outreach thing. Do you have an idea of conversion rate? So let's say I make a super guide. If I email 10 people, what is the likelihood that one of them is going to link back to me? So I'm trying to get a sense of the effort involved to get a link from manual outreach.
Yeah, so answer is it depends, of course. It massively depends on the thing you have. It massively depends on the quality of your outreach email, how personal is it, and how good you are at clicking the right buttons in a person's mind to make him respond. It massively relies on who are your prospects, because 10 prospects and 10 prospects are not the same, because each of them is a person, each of them is unique. So you can fall flat with the first 10 prospects, and the next 10 would be super happy to link to you. So yeah, the answer is really it depends. But there are different ways to approach it. So for example, here at Ahrefs, we advocate super personal and super manual ways. So we don't consider outreach as broadcasting. We don't just load a few hundred URLs in Excel, pull the contact information automatically with some tool that can pull emails and then send everyone the same template. We don't do this, but even though we don't do this, I see people do this in other industries and it works for them. So basically, the totally automated way to do outreach, they spend like almost zero time on it and they get links. But in our case, probably because marketing industry is super saturated with outreach, we have to do it super careful, we have to do it super manual, and basically we craft each email almost from the scratch. And again, in our industry, we don't ask for backlinks like upfront. We just try to impress people with our content, with our stuff, and they link to us without us even having to ask about it. And in terms of success rate, I'd say it's about like 5% for us. So even though we don't ask for links, about 5% of people that we reach out to link to us. But it really depends, because some weeks we have like 10 to 15% like people like just love what we have and link to us when we're not even asking, and sometimes we get zero links. So yeah, it's something that you shouldn't be discouraged about and just keep doing, because even if people don't link to you like right away, if you impress them with your content, you just got yourself like a new visitor, a new repeat visitor, and maybe even buyer. So think of it not just a link building practice, but like overall building relationships with people in your niche. And this is why I don't really suggest to use like automated ways to reach out. I suggest to spend more time and build relationships like genuinely, because even especially if your niche is quite small. For example, wakeboarding world, I think it is relatively small. There are only so many like pros. There are only so many companies that do wakeboards and stuff. And if I were to start something in this industry, I would totally be super manual about approaching everyone, about approaching vendors who do wakeboards, about approaching pro wakeboarders, and about approaching like people who build wake parks and all this stuff.
So let's say that I'm selling wakeboards and I want to rank on the first page of like wakeboard supplies. I don't even know if that's a thing, but let's just pretend that's like a very important head term. One thing I would do is I would look at the backlink profile or the difficulty of ranking on that first page. So who's ranking for that now? What websites do they have linking to them? What's on their page, and what can I build that's going to be better than something that's already on there? So that's the first thing. So do some competitive research, and then just make sure I'm building something of quality. And then after that, looking through the competitive research, there's going to be some websites where I can identify, I can email this person and try to get a backlink. So whether that's like, hey, notice you linked to the buyer's guide of this other store. I created an even better one. Maybe you'd like to check this out. And then doing that process again and again, that's going to get me backlinks, maybe over weeks, over months, and eventually I'll have a shot at being on that first page.
Yeah, and actually, this is a great question overall. And right now, I'm going to give you a super secret tactic of ranking for a keyword, especially for a keyword wakeboarding supplies, like you said. So the secret to ranking for wakeboarding supplies is having the best boarding supplies in the world. So forget about all the SEO, forget about all the website structure. This is just secondary. The key to ranking for wakeboarding supplies #1 in Google is having the best wakeboarding supplies. And this is something I experience with Ahrefs, because when I do marketing for Ahrefs, there are like, I don't know, a few dozen of similar tools that like have some backlink data, that have some backlink metrics, and blah, blah, blah. But when I reach out to people and they need to kind of sell them on Ahrefs, this is so easy for me because we have the biggest link database, and there's no way that other tool could approach people the way I do. So I just have arguments that you can't go against them. I just email people and say like, hey, you do like backlink research. Ahrefs has the best backlinks database in the industry. We crawl like more than Bing, Yahoo, Baidu, and all the search engines. We only lagging behind Google. You should check us out. And people say, hell yeah. Well, if I were working for like kind of smaller company with a smaller backlink index, it would be a super hard time for me as a marketer to do marketing for them. Because like, what do I say to people? Like, check us out. We're like much worse than Ahrefs, but like we still have some backlinks and we can do you a huge discount. But
Yeah.
yeah, and the same goes to backlinks. So people want to link to best stuff. So uh, all these strategies and a lot of strategies, people are looking for strategies that will kind of trick website owners and trick other people to link to them. Well, I'm not into trickery. I love when it's genuine. I love when people genuinely like your product and link to you. So the best SEO strategy to ranking for something is making that something better than anything else. And then, of course, if you have the best product but you're lacking on marketing strategies, like you said, you can plug a website of your competitor into Ahrefs, and you can see where their backlinks are coming from. You can see which pages on their website generate the most traffic from search. You can see which pages on their website have generated the most backlinks. These assets that we talked about. So you can see all these things, and you can quickly write down a strategy of what you should do on your own website to replicate their success. And because you know that your product is actually better than the product of your competition, replicating their strategies would be super easier for you, just because people will genuinely see that what you have is better, and there is no motivation for them to link for a worse product when they know there's a superior product.
Yeah, just I mean, getting a good product is its own marketing, and a lot of things will fall into place if you have that.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's super good advice. So just make sure that when you guys are watching this, don't drop the product development and learning from your customers and all that kind of stuff. If anything, you should double down on that
For
because
sure.
everything else will fall into place once you get that right. All right, Tim, we're just about out of time here. Before you go, what are some blogs, books, or podcasts or resources you'd recommend for people who want to learn more about SEO?
This is a good question. Well, you can always start with Ahrefs blog. If you Google Ahrefs blog, you'll find us easily. And basically, on the homepage of our blog, we have listing of our best articles. There's like I think 24 of them, so not too many, but all of them are pretty good because we update them like almost every year with the most recent information. So this is a very, very good starting point. And then I think I can also recommend a blog by Moz, but I think it is a bit more advanced. So once you nail all the beginner stuff, you can go and read some advanced stuff from them. And of course, Backlinko. He also has some good information. But like for the most part, it's just the matter of trial and error. So learn things, ask your friends, like look at your competition. I enjoyed a tweet from one of our customers who said that you learn more about marketing spending an hour in Ahrefs than reading like a dozen blogs. So basically take your competitor, put it into Ahrefs, and see what's happening. Like try to understand and reverse engineer their strategies. See if they like getting links because they guest post a lot, or maybe they got a lot of mentions from press, or maybe they do some advertising, or maybe they sponsor events, or maybe they I don't know. Like just look at where the backlinks are coming from and which pages bring them traffic and what their website structure looks like. And I'm sure you'll figure this out. If not today, then tomorrow.
Yeah, awesome. Tim, where can people go if they want to follow you or if they want to learn more about the work you guys are doing?
Just go to Ahrefs blog. Everything is there.
Okay. All right, Tim. That was a ton of stuff. I bet everybody's got full notebooks thanks to all the stuff that you've been talking about. All right, so we'll let Tim go, and everybody, thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll see you at the next session. Take care.